The first 30 seconds of your live video is arguably the most important part. And if you are having a problem, not attracting people necessarily, but keeping people's attention and making sure that they are staying until the end of the video, there's a good shot that this beginning part just maybe isn't living up to the hype, isn't living up to the expectation. So, in this training today, I'm going to talk about the three big mistakes that I see in the first 30 seconds of your lives that, I have. If you don't know me, by the way, my name's Alex. And for the last almost 5 years, I have been helping entrepreneurs to get on camera with ease and confidence. And I've reviewed probably at this point, almost, if not 1,000 yet, close to it. I review scripts every single week for my Video Skills Lab members. And so this is just the stuff that I see over and over and over again. And so it's incredibly important that we get this locked in, because if you want to be making more money and getting more subscribers and having more of an impact with your video content, we can't screw up the first 30 seconds. So, like I said, we're going to talk about the three big mistakes, and we are also going to talk about the framework that you are going to use to design your video content, that beginning instead. So we're going to walk through the framework first. And by the way, I am live here today. So if you are watching with me live, I see we have some people here live, drop me a hashtag live, or if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, and drop any questions as we go as well. So let's talk about the framework first. So during the first 30 seconds, I'm gonna pull up this video scripting template, and I use this to script my live videos. You can do these for pre-recorded stuff as well. But essentially, we want to do a couple of things in the first 30 seconds. And really, it's these two main things. And it is the hook and the crazy not to stay promise, right? And if you haven't seen this script before, this is one of the scripting templates in my $9 a month Video Skills Lab membership. We're not going to go through the whole thing right now because of this video. We're just focusing on the top. But this is the template we use like over and over again for every single script. You're not reinventing the wheel. And these two first things are like the first 30 seconds, maybe 1 minute of your video. And so the hook is where we grab your audience's attention with question, a story, statement, and something that's going to get them really excited to watch and listen. And ideally, it's like I said, stories or questions or life moments that are kind of leading them to this point where, they've had all these things happen and now they're looking for this particular video. So you're kind of describing some of that stuff. And I'm going to give you guys some examples of what that looks like in a little bit. So that's the first piece. The second piece is the crazy not to stay promised, which essentially is in 1 or 2 sentences, exactly what your audience is going to learn if they stay until the end of the video, right? And this is the absolute clarity that your audience needs in order to make sure that they are, understanding exactly what they're going to take away for the video. So at the beginning of this video, I told you I am going to explain the 3 mistakes that happen in the first 30 seconds of your live video. So you're listening for those 3 mistakes. And I also told you I'm going to walk you through the framework you're going to use instead. So now you're listening for those 3 things and you're listening for that framework, versus so many times I will hear entrepreneurs or I will read scripts that are just so long and so vague. So a bad example of a crazy not to say promise would be like, let's say if my promise was, I'm going to talk to you all about video intros in general and what's working, which isn't bad, but how much better is it for me to tell you 3 mistakes about the first 30 seconds and the framework instead? It's more specific, it's more enticing, it's more compelling. So these 2 things are what we're going to want to focus on. And if you're here watching live, let me know if this makes sense to you so far. You can drop me a yes. Let me know if you have any questions. You can say hey in the chat as well so that I can see you're here and watching. And then after you go through those 2 things, your audience is clear. They should be listening. And then you go through the rest of the script. And obviously, how you deliver the rest of it matters as well. But, these first 2 things really are make or break in terms of people actually sticking around. So here are the things that I typically see when we're not operating with this framework. What goes wrong in the first 30 seconds of your video? So let's start with this first one right here. So the first one that I'll see is, when you go live, you hit that button and it feels really, really awkward when no one shows up and no one's there and no one's talking back. And it just feels like you're, like I said, talking to no one. And you take forever and you drag your heels and you're just like, hey, how's it going? I'm going to wait a few minutes for everyone to join. And it's just really awkward. Versus if you dive right in. And the way I like to operate when I am going live is as if someone's watching the replay. Because here's the thing. My live videos are obviously, the replays go up after and they stay up. And so I don't want people to have to scroll through the, hey, hi, how's it going? What's going on? I want to just get straight to that hook and draw them in right away versus wasting all of that time and energy and just like projecting this aura of like uncertainty, which is not what you want. Right. So that's the first thing that I see. And let me know in the comments if you are guilty of this, because I used to do the same thing too. I would just sit there really awkwardly and it was weird. One thing that actually, before we move on, that really, really helped was me thinking, okay, people are going to watch the replay, even if they're not showing live. And, even when I didn't have a huge audience, the thing that I would always tell myself is that I am working for my future audience. I am working for the people who will come and find my channel or find my Facebook group or find me on Instagram in the future, because I am not in this for 1 or 2 videos. I am in this for the long haul. I'm going to keep going and going and going over and over again. And so it's really important for me to make sure that I am operating and teaching for that future audience as well. So for you guys who are just building up and are feeling awkward, that's just a really great kind of mindset to have. Okay, the second mistake that I see all the time, I'm going to make it uncolored. So the second mistake I see is just being way too vague with your topic, being way too vague with this hook and this crazy not to state promise. And I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by that. So let's say your topic is, let's say you're a strength coach who helps women recover after they have a baby, right? So one of your videos is the number one core exercise to do every day when you are fresh postpartum, you're just recovered, from having a baby. So let's talk about what a really, really bad kind of hook or intro to this would look like. Core exercises are so important for women. Are you unsure what to do and what routine to follow? Do you know it's something you want to work on, but you don't know how to start? It's vague. Like I said, yes, we're talking about core exercises. Yes, we talk about women. Yes, we're hitting these pain points of are we unsure? But you could get way more specific to what this particular demographic is struggling with. So here's a better version for this. We could say, as a hook, your body goes through hell and back to have a baby, and work isn't over once the baby is in your arms. You have to actually heal. And most women do not know the proper core exercises to do postpartum. They're either doing things super advanced, or they're not actually targeting the deep core muscles, or maybe it's something else. Regardless, there's an information gap that needs to be filled. Think about how different that is, right? From going from this really, really vague core exercises in general are important. This could literally be for anyone, versus starting to talk about the life moments and the problems that women postpartum who want to work on their core specifically are facing. That is very, very different. Are you guys seeing that difference? Maybe just give me a yes or no in the chat, how much better it is when you get more specific, because I guarantee you this one is not going to keep people around the same way as something like that. Okay. The third mistake that I see all the time is when you start your video in the first 30 seconds and you make it about you. So I'll give an example of this. So let's say that you are an organizer. You're a home organizer that helps new moms, right? And let's say your video is one organization hack that will streamline your kitchen cabinets so that they stay organized for good, right? Cool topic. Here's a bad example of what you don't want to do when you're making it all about you. You would open the video and you would say something like, hey guys, I'm so excited about this topic. I'm so excited. I'm so passionate about keeping your kitchen home organized. I remember when I was a new mom with 2 kids and I couldn't keep everything straight. And, everything was so hard back then. It feels a little bit like a trauma dump, right? Like, we don't need to know all this stuff. Like, it's not a terrible opening, but it's not a great opening either. And, maybe your warm audience, the people who know you and love you, are going to be fine to have something like that because they like you and they'll listen to whatever you've got. But people who are cold, who are just finding you for the first time, who, are new to you, it's not going to be compelling in the same way. And so a better version of this, and remember, the topic is one organization hack that will streamline your kitchen cabinets so that they stay organized for good. Here's a better opening. Picture this. Your kitchen cabinets are a mess of kid snaps, diapers, plastic grocery bags, and old bread you've forgotten to throw out. Am I triggering you yet? If you're anything like me, as a new mom struggling to do all the things, I know your kitchen cabinets need some TLC, and I want to assure you there's a way to get things systematized. So this is a much more successful example because I'm still incorporating, I'm still incorporating a little bit about me, but I'm still putting the life moments and the pain points first that are going to draw people in, kind of explaining what they're experiencing. I'm literally like describing their kitchen cabinets and telling them I know exactly where you are right now. So yes, here I talk a little bit about me, but it's really about them. It's really about their situation. So that's a much more successful way of integrating yourself a little bit, but not being overbearing or just a little bit too much about it. So let me know if you guys have any questions so far. So again, to recap, we've got don't take forever and don't just say, hey, get right to it. Don't be super vague with your topic and your beginning. And we want to make sure that we are not making it all about you. So those are the big 3. And remember to follow this framework that I taught you guys at the beginning of this video. But otherwise, that is it for today. Let me know in the comments what your biggest learnings were. If this is something that you have been struggling with, I'd love to hear. And if you want my help to take your videos to the next level, you can join my $9 a month Video Skills Lab membership, which gives you access to a huge on-demand library that basically helps you get your video strategy up and going with scripting templates and like all the support and resources. We've got live Zoom coaching calls, live master classes, a supportive community. It's a lot of really great stuff. So the link's in the description of this video. But otherwise, comment below. Let me know what was helpful for you, and I'll talk to you soon.